Alright guys, so in the last video we created the add note form component, and we're able to add something in here and it'll get added to the state, okay, which is just local. If we refresh the page, it's not going to stay. Alright, let me see. Alright, so let's see, we'll add test, and down here you can see that it's been added. Okay, we have our object, text, test. So we want that data to persist onto MongoLab. Alright, so what you'll need to do is you need to get your API key. And it's really easy to do. What you're going to click on is, I think it's either account, your name up here. It's either that or the, oh, I got to log back in. Alright, so actually, is it security? No. Okay, so it's not that. You got to click on this user right here and then your username. And down here you'll see that you have an API key. Okay, so you want to keep that. And then what we're going to do is open up our app API file, which is in the utils folder. And I'm just going to close this other stuff for now. And I want to open the store. Alright, now in the store, if we go down to where we're adding a note, we're calling appstore.addNote. That's what's adding it locally to the state. We want to now call it from the API. So we're going to say app API.addNote, and we want to pass along action.note. Alright, now in that API file, we're going to create that addNote function. Alright, and let's see, that's going to take in the note. And then what we'll do is we'll make our AJAX request. Alright, so we're going to use jQuery AJAX, and then we're going to pass in here a couple things. We want to pass in the URL. Okay, actually I'm going to use double quotes. That's going to be HTTPS api.mongolab.com/API/one/databases/ and then the name of your database or application. Let me just check mine. And actually, I want to copy my API key while I'm here. Okay, and then we can go ahead and check. I think I called it sticky pad. What's going on? I just want to go back to okay. So yeah, sticky pad. If I click on that, it should give me the URL. Yeah, sticky pad. So that's what we're going to put here. Alright, and then what we want to do is specify the collection. So we're going to say /collections/ and then we're going to use notes. And then we're going to say API key equals, and then paste in the API key. Alright, so that's the URL. Alright, so then we're going to put a comma here, and we want to put in data, and we want to use a function called JSON.stringify, okay, to make it into a string. And then we want to pass in note. Okay, then we want to specify the type, which is going to be post. And then we just want to specify the content type. Actually, no, there's no dash, it's camel case. So content type, and that's going to be application/JSON. Alright, and that should do it. So let's go ahead and save that, and we'll go ahead and try it out. So make sure gulp is running, and then I'm going to just reload. And for our note, let's just say meeting at 2 p.m. Okay, we'll add that. You can see it's added down here. Now if we go to our MongoLab and reload, we have collections called notes. Click on that, and there it is. Okay, so you can see the ID is a little weird. This is how MongoDB does it. It'll have underscore ID, and then that's equal to an object which has this $OID in it, and that's what we'll be using for our ID. All right, so we know that that's working. So what we want to work on next is when we add this, we want it to show up over here in a sticky note. All right, so what we need to do is go back to our API file, and we need to create a function called getNotes that's going to retrieve them. All right, so we're going to put a comma here, and then we're going to say getNotes. That's going to be a function. Okay, and again, we're going to make an AJAX call. Okay, we want to pass in our URL. And for the URL, it's going to be the same as the one we did up here. So we'll just grab that. All right, so paste that in quotes. Okay, next thing, we're going to pass in the data type. JSON. And I'm going to set the cache to false. And then we're going to create our success function. Okay, so this will run if everything goes okay. And that's going to take in the data. All right, and then after success, actually we need to do dot bind, pass in this. All right, and then what we'll have is our error. Okay, this will happen if we have some kind of error. That'll be a function that's going to take in a couple parameters. We're going to pass in XHR, status, and error. All right, and all we're going to do here is just console log. Okay, we want to console log the error. Okay, and then this we also have to bind. All right, so success. What we want to happen once we get this is we want to call an action. So we're going to say app actions dot, and then we're going to say receive notes. All right, and we're going to pass in the data. So we can save that, and now what we need to do is create this receive notes function or action. So we'll go into app actions, and let's go right under the add notes. We're going to say receive notes function, and this is going to be taking in the notes as a parameter. Okay, and then just like up here, we're going to call the dispatcher. I'm going to copy that. All right, now action type, we're going to change this to receive notes. Okay, and then down here we just want to pass notes. All right, let's create that constant real quick. All right, we can close that up. So what we want to do now is go to the store. So we're going to go to stores and then app store, and we need another case. Push this over a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and just grab this. All right, and then we're going to change this to receive notes. Okay, and we'll change this receiving notes. Okay, and then we're going to be calling app store dot, and then let's change this to set notes. Okay, we want to pass in action.notes. All right, now what we'll have to do is create this set notes function. So let's go up top and we'll say set notes. That's going to be a function, and we're going to pass in the notes, and then all we're going to do here is set underscore notes, which is basically our state, our note state, to the notes that we pass in. Okay, so we'll save that. Now we're already getting the notes because we did this in the last video. Alright, so if we go to our app component, you can see that we're setting the state here. So we now should be able to grab the notes that are on the MongoLab server. Okay. So what we're going to do is go down here where we're going to put our note list, and we're going to say note list, and then we're going to pass in notes. That's going to be equal to this dot state dot notes. Alright, just like that. And then what we'll do is create that component. So we're going to say new file, save it as note list.js. Where is it? Okay, so I'm going to copy what we have in the add note form component and paste it in note list. And then we're just going to change this to note list. Okay, and we'll get rid of all this stuff. We don't need this on submit. Okay, and we're going to change this to note list as well. Alright, so we'll save that. And let's see, now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to map through the notes, or loop through the notes. And I'm going to put a class on this div, or a class name. And we're going to add row small up to medium up, medium up to, I'm sorry, medium up 3, and then large up 4. And this is just setting the number of columns per size. Okay, so if the browser is smaller, this will be called, if it's medium, and large. Alright, now in here we're going to open up a set of curly braces, and we're going to say this dot props dot notes. Okay, since we passed in the notes to this component, we're accessing them as props. It's no longer state from inside this component. Alright, state is for the very top app component. And then we're going to call map. Dot map. Alright, now in here we're going to create a function. Alright, and that's going to take in two things. It's going to have the note itself, and then also an index, or I. Alright, and then what we'll do is return. Okay, and this is where we're gonna return the note component that we're gonna create, which just represents one single note. So we'll say note equals note, and then key is gonna equal the index. Alright, and we'll close that up. So now what we'll have to do is create the note component. Before we do that, we have to actually include it up here. And I think we have to do that with the note list too on the app file. So this will be ./note.js. Alright, and let's go back to the app file and make sure we include note list. Alright, so now what we'll do is create the note component. Save as note.js. Alright, so I'm going to copy what we have in note list. And whoops, I got to refresh. Alright, and we'll put that in Node.js. We can get rid of this. We'll change this to just note. We're going to get rid of that, and this is just going to be a regular div. And then down here, that should be note. So just to test it out, let's just put a note. Okay, not sure if it'll work just yet. Alright, so we do have a note inside of MongoLab, so it should be pulling it out. Okay, we're not getting any errors. So what I'll do here is let's go to the API file into get notes, and let's just make sure that we're getting this data. Okay, so we'll go ahead and reload. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes, or a couple seconds rather. Okay, so it looks like it's just getting nothing. I'm not sure if that empty array is from this. Oops, what happened? No, that's that array. What is that coming from? Oh, it's coming from this. Okay, so now let's go back to the API file. And for some reason, we're not getting this back. So databases, sticky pad, collections, notes. Now, is this even running? Oh, it's not running. That's what's going on. It's not running. So what we want to do is we want to run this in our main.js file. All right, so we can say app API dot get notes. All right, and that should do it hopefully. So let's save that. Okay, unexpected end of input. Let's see. Invalid tag note.js. Okay, we'll worry about that after, but you can see that it's now getting it. All right, if I add another one, let's say dinner with family, add. Okay, it should add it. Oh, I added it twice. Okay, so you can see that it actually did add to the database. Now this here, invalid tag note.js. Alright, so if we look at this up here, I forgot to put in the require. Okay, so we just want to throw that in there. Alright, so now let it update. Oh, I just got to run gulp again. Okay, so there we go. Now you can see that it's outputting a note, which obviously isn't what we want, but we know that it's getting them because we know we have 3 notes in the database. So in the next video, we'll turn these into actual sticky pad notes. All right, so I will see you then.